Setting boundaries. A lot of people fail to set boundaries, and whether it's a professional capacity or in a personal capacity. And what that usually does, it generates more confusion rather than clarity. Now, the purpose of setting boundaries is that you know exactly what it is that you need to be doing. You know what your scope is. You know what your remit is. And what that usually does, it drives positive communication, it drives clarity in what needs to be done, but also understanding that sometimes where there's an overlay, it's not actually a duplication, but it's actually complementing something. Now, whether you're trying to define and set boundaries in a personal capacity or professional capacity, let's look at each one of those one at a time and see what we can do to help set boundaries. Now, when you're at work, for example, the thing that drives setting boundaries is really your objectives, having clear and smart objectives, and that defines what your scope of your role is. That will help identify where your interaction points are with other people or other departments within the organization or stakeholders. What that does is it drives positive communication, understanding what needs to be done, knowing exactly who you need to go to help get the job done. Now, if you imagine you're in a work environment and you don't have a set of clear and smart objectives, 9 out of 10 that you're going to spend much more time trying to understand what it is that you need to be doing. There is a high risk of duplicating some work, but most importantly, it just drives a lot of confusion and a lot of negative feelings in the end. Once you set those boundaries that this is exactly what I need to be working on, then not only will it help guide conversations in communicating what those boundaries are, it will give you clarity what you need to be doing. If you look at a personal capacity, you need to be able to set boundaries so that nobody infringes on that space of yours. Now, I come from a big family, and it's important that I was always setting boundaries as I was growing up because we had limited spaces. But within that limited space, I ensured that I had my sort of physical boundaries set out when I needed my time out. That's just an example. In a personal capacity, when you're dealing with relationships, for example, I don't just mean marital or partner relationship, but it could be a relationship with your siblings or your children. In establishing boundaries allows the other person to understand that you can push certain things to a certain limit, but going anything beyond that is going to become quite uncomfortable for the person. And it's not just important to understand and establish boundaries for yourself, but it's equally important for then communicating what those boundaries are for the other person or persons around you. If you don't have boundaries or you're unclear what those boundaries are and a little bit blurred, have the relevant conversation with those people, whether it's a personal capacity or professional capacity. Set those boundaries, get clear understanding on what it is that you're trying to do, and hopefully that will just erase all the confusion and help you lead a much more sort of stress-free life because you've got those boundaries set out.